Hey, hello. Welcome to episode doo of BroPartisan Hacks.
16,
Uh,
I think.
so we came back from our hiatus all jacked and we're like, we're just gonna be doing the show, and then uh, I don't know what happened last
Father's
week.
Day happened, and then
Yeah.
we both
Well,
had
and
we
then
both
so
had
I'm
stuff. And
I'm gonna be out this coming weekend too, so we probably won't be able to do the show next week, Colorado. Uh,
like I said, man, we were just doing this when we can, and
so,
life happens. We'll see what's up.
right, because we still have lives and jobs and things to do.
Yeah, not professional YouTubers
All right. So
or
one of the
streamers
downsides of
or
not doing this for a living.
one of the downsides to not starting this when we were like, I don't know, 18 or something.
Right. So yeah, so the wife and I we're going to Colorado next week. And it's funny. So we were trying to decide where to go. We knew we were going to take a vacation, save some of our stimming money, and we so we're looking around, and we thought about, but we're both kind of old and not in beach body shape. So we were kind of like, well, let's go somewhere cooler. It's it's
This
you
doesn't
know
really
it
need to go to Cancun.
well not only that, but like I mean I don't, but I'm hot. It's hot. And I want to go somewhere not hot. So we're kind of looking around, and we looked at Chicago, and we were looking at originally we were just looking like driving distance,
Yeah.
what's far, you know, so forth and so on. Then she started looking around at, am I frozen?
It's my screen. Don't worry about it.
And then we were looking around at flights in Southwest, $100 flights. Dude, do that. Okay, so we started looking at Chicago.
I lost you after Chicago.
I said I've never been to Chicago, but uh, but I don't really want to go. Like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna eat pizza?
I mean, you can.
I don't know. Like I said, I've never been. I'm sure there's cool shit to see, but it's not
I.
really what I'm looking for. Like I wanted to go somewhere with like some scenery,
Mm,
greenery, you know.
yeah, I know that in Chicago, when our sister lived up there, and back when she and I were still talking, um, Mom and I helped her move to like outside of Chicago, and I think while we were there, we like had gone back to Chicago to go tour around, and we spent maybe I don't know. They would, the historic buildings in Chicago downtown. There's some big skyscrapers you can go tour and go look out over the cityscape, um, and like the city was nice. It was kind of early winter there, so it was really really cold in Chicago for me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Fall is really fucking cold in Chicago.
Fall, yeah, it was like fall, and it was like snowing. There was ice on the ground, and so it was really cold for me. But I don't really remember there being like I think I'd already been to New York at this point, and so I was just kind of like, oh, it's just another downtown city like Houston or Dallas. Like it's just downtown. Okay, this is cool. I guess it's not as hot as downtown Dallas, so that's nice.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I discovered when I was traveling, a few years back. Like, um, with the exception of like New Orleans, every city looks pretty much the same. Like, got the same shit, got some big buildings, got some Starbucks.
Lots of Starbucks.
So anyway, it kind of finally ended up with like kind of Seattle or Colorado. We landed on Colorado because we found some
You found what?
$79 flights.
Oh wow. You might check
So,
your camera connection just real quick, because I don't think it's the internet that's cutting out. Because your picture is staying good.
oh, well, the pictures.
Not your camera connection, your microphone connection. Double check that, please.
How is it now? Oh,
See,
hold on. Let me see. Let me make sure that it's still using the.
because it's just your microphone cutting out. I can always see your lips moving. I can see you talking, so I don't think it's the internet. I think it's your microphone.
Oh, okay. I see the problem. It's using my earphones. Okay, check now.
That's good. It's good quality. Give me some level. Talk for me.
Loudly.
Okay. And
This is probably going to be the level that I talk.
right
Here.
if that's the
Check,
level
check,
you
check,
talk,
check.
you're gonna be really loud if you yell into it because I've turned you up a little bit.
Okay. I'll try not to yell. So anyway,
I'll try not to egg you on. No problem.
so we anyway we ended up picking Colorado, and so like I'm pretty stoked. We're gonna fly into Denver, I believe, and she asked me what the top 3 things that I wanted to do, and so I'm like, I wanna go check out some mountains. I don't necessarily want to hike because but they have some place close there has this cool thing, I think in Aspen. It has this thing where you can get on a lift, and even in the summer months, the lift will just take you up to go look at cool shit on the mountain. Um,
So it's like the
so,
ski. What do they
and
call
then
those things?
I want to go whitewater rafting.
Oh yeah, whitewater rafting is fun.
We haven't done that since we were like, how old were you when we went? Like 10? No.
I think I went with Dad, and you weren't there when I was a little older.
Oh, you didn't go with us on that trip?
I did.
When we all went?
I'm pretty sure I did.
I don't think Mom went, but it was you, me, you, me, sister.
Find my pencil. That's all right. I'm gonna have to cut this down anyway because of the microphone thing and everything else. So.
Okay. So anyway, I'm pretty stoked. Also, don't tell Mom, but I realized like 3 days ago that the sticky icky is legal in Colorado.
You found out 3 days ago?
Well, I remembered. Like, I didn't think about it. It's not one of the things that I thought about. We were planning where to go, but I was like, oh. And we're going with no kids? Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my top 3 is go to the dispensary.
We were in we were in Monument, or we were on our way to Monument. We'd flown into Denver. This is a buddy of mine. You remember my bigger friend from college. We flew up to her wedding, and we were like, man, we need to go to the liquor store. We need to get some food. We need to get some of that. And we pull into this strip mall that had all 3. It was like a pizza parlor, the liquor store, and the dispensary right there. And we were like, this is a one-stop shop. I love Colorado. It's great. Everything we need is right here. It was a good trip. We had a good time. That was several years ago.
All right.
Several years ago, back before I was a responsible adult.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm telling you, like, we were talking about, I was like, since like 5 years, maybe 10 years, I haven't done anything cool.
Yeah. We got twins, and they're old now, and we're old. So, you have a good Father's Day? I had a good Father's Day.
I did, man. We went to this place in Fort Worth called Burgers Lake. It's got like a high dive. It's got like water slides, and it's like a man-made lake kind of thing. Pretty cool little place. It's got like a trapeze you can dive off of.
That's cool.
And then like, I don't know, took the kids, went swimming. It was pretty fun.
Nice. We went to so the wife had this thing planned. So we went to her mother's house and dropped the kid off, and then we went into Houston. And so of course the day with no kid on Father's Day was like, hey, Grandma, take the kid. It was great. The place we went to is called McCormick and Schmidt's, which I didn't realize was a Landry place, but I don't think they had a plate on their menu that was less than $40. Like it was kind of an expensive place, so where like the valet parking was complimentary, right? They didn't.
Oh yeah.
For it, so it's like it's that kind of place, right? And
but you still throw down the 5 or 10.
The 5 or 10 or whatever, like but it's not the 25 valet parking that you would pay like at a hotel, right? So,
Right.
So no, this place was fantastic, and they had this Father's Day special with this like 14-ounce ribeye, which I ate all of, and then all the other stuff that went with it, and then she was like, all right, well, don't eat too much, cause you need to be able to move afterwards. Okay. And so of course I ate too much.
Right. How do you not?
Then we had dessert.
$40 plate?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm eating everything. And mine was the $40 was like the cheap stuff. So mine was almost like a $60 plate with a steak, right? So
right.
I'm eating all of that stuff. I don't care if it's I would be really upset if it was gross, but it was delicious, and I had no complaints about the quality of the food. So anyway, afterwards she's like driving off, and it's supposed to be a surprise.
I just lost you.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. There you are. Okay.
So we were leaving. Okay, well, while we were there was a guy who sat next to us, and wife, she picked up her phone to like text one of her friends or something, and I was like watching this table next to us, and it was this family of 5, and the daughter had drawn a picture of the dad to give to him for Father's Day. And I overheard the mom say, it's like, oh man, she even put you in your Gucci. She knows you so well. And this dude, like, he was wearing this like decked out pink suit, like pink, almost like a hospital pink, like that real subdued, like it wasn't hot pink, like bright or anything. It was like very subdued, but it was like the whole 3-piece ensemble designer suit, right?
Okay.
And so the daughter hands him this picture of him wearing his Gucci, hey, here's your Gucci, I got you this, and I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, oh, so I guess he always dresses like this. All right, so that's cool. And this dude felt so special that he told the waitress, he was like, you know what, I don't trust you to basically give my drink to the bartender correctly. I'm going to need you to go get the bartender and bring him all the way over here to the other side of the restaurant so he can take my drink order himself.
Wow.
And then he squealed like a 9-year-old getting like some PlayStation 5 when he got this little keychain. It was like limited edition keychain. So we had a hearty chuckle about all that.
I wish that I could get excited about anything like that. Actually, the wife got me a Craig jig. I don't know if the pocket hole jig. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
So those things are like, even the small, like little bitty one, is like $50, like just for this little bitty pocket hole jig. The one she got me is, I don't know, I think it's like $100 and something, but like, I would never buy it for myself. Like, it's just not a thing. It's just not a thing I would buy for myself, because it's so expensive.
So one of these.
I feel like I should.
Is that?
Yeah. With the clamp and everything.
All right.
And I did get really excited about that. Because I think that's what gifts are for, like to get you things that you want that you would never actually buy for yourself.
Right.
Like I can drill myself a pocket hole. I don't need you to. I don't need a whole thing, but it's really nice when you have.
It's really nice when you have one. Yeah. No, it's... yeah.
I don't need this.
So anyway, afterwards we went.
Mike Gravel died.
We went rock climbing. Who?
Mike Gravel of the Gravel Institute. He ran for president. He wasn't ever very popular, but he's like a super lefty.
I guess.
That's sad. He's a good dude.
That's sad. All right, so what you got? What's on your? Oh yeah, I don't know if you heard me, but we went rock climbing after all of that.
Oh no, I missed that.
So we went to the little rock gym over in Houston after eating all of that.
You are too old to be rock climbing, first of all.
Hey, I did pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I went up. I scaled They're easy routes, but I went up like 5 or 6 times before my arms burned out. They're really good. So.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't go rock climbing. I mean, I got these forearms right here.
Yeah.
But I also got all of this.
Yeah, the trick is to not use your arms when you're rock climbing. Like use your arms as little as possible.
But you still gotta hold yourself to the wall. Like you still.
Well, that's the way you're doing it is actually wrong because you really want to try and have your arms straight. Because when you do this, you're tiring out your.
I understand.
Your bicep.
You still have to hold yourself to the wall. No,
Yeah.
It's forearm. It's all this.
It's all forearm, but you want to do it with the straight arm.
Like this is where.
Because this will still wear out.
I have the most pain when I rock climb. I think I lost you again.
Yeah.
You're frozen.
Is my arm up in the air like an idiot? Yeah. No, and I have the little spring thing, so my forearms are actually pretty good. So,
you do that. You do that. You the grip thingy.
Well, I also work around a whole bunch of and I do it for self-preservation. I do it all the time for self-preservation because I work with machinists.
Self-preservation.
Do you work around people who work with their hands? Yes.
Self-gratification.
Self-gratification. Well, that helps, right? So you can go, like, endurance is the key in your grip strength. But I work around machinists, and they work with people who work with their hands all day have incredibly strong grips, and so when you're like the nerdy engineer that comes out to like talk to them, and they want to shake your hand,
right? You better be ready.
You better be ready. They're going to try to hurt you.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. I'm with that. No, I work with athletes who shake hands heartily.
Yeah.
All the time. So we're either like full on, or it's the hardest high five that you've ever had in your entire life.
Yeah.
So
all the time.
One of those. Yeah.
So you understand, yes. And everybody out here shakes hands, and not everybody. Some people who do the work in the field always want to try to crush the engineer's hands. So they're like, oh, you guys don't work, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll trade you any day. It's so much less stress to just go out here and turn the wrench.
Right. So, yeah, nobody's looking at you if you just turn the wrench wrong.
Yeah.
So, I want to touch on this before I jump into I wanted to talk about CRT, critical race theory, this week, mostly because. Never mind. I'll tell you in a minute. But the sentencing came down.
Okay.
What?
I was gonna say that actually feels like a good introduction, but then you said you'll tell me later.
Yeah, the sentencing came down for Derek Chauvin. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And there are people that are happy, and there are people that are upset that it was only 22 years. There are people that are happy that the guy's going to prison in the first place. And I have mixed feelings about it. And the reason that I have mixed feelings about it is because I still feel like um, we are still in this bad apple um, mindset where it's not every cop, it's not the system, it's just a few bad apples that are the bad ones. They're the bad ones, most of them are good ones. And I don't think that's the problem, man. Like I've said to you, I think, we've talked about it before, but I think it's the training. It's the training. The it's the way that they are taught how to interact with the public, instead of, you know it being, you know it's this guy, he did a bad thing. I think they just all do bad things, like, because I've been watching a lot of, like, cop beating up people videos, and it ain't just black people. Like, they beat up everybody. Like, they don't give a shit. They just beat the fuck out of people. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't, like, I mean, they also murder black people at a disproportionate rate, but they 100% just beat the shit out of people. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, they just beat people up.
Mm.
Um,
I
the
agree.
kid-
I agree with everything you said, except factually, based on the FBI statistics, that's incorrect as far as
No,
the
it's-
murdering. But everything else
it's
is correct.
disproportionate to the population. So, percentage-wise, yes, they murder more black people than white people.
Percentage-wise, okay. Well, yes, that is accurate.
So,
Are we?
anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I just saw the sentencing thing and I got involved in the discourse. Anyway, CRT. So it's been, I noticed the other day. So I did some little research. In March of 2021, the year of our Lord, 2021, Fox News had a 100% increase in the number of times they mentioned critical race theory.
Hold on.
Before that,
Hold on. Time out.
okay,
100% increase.
yes,
So
the number was zero before
so the
March
number was 0.
2021.
So if the number was 0,
Uh-huh.
and if they mention it one time, that's 100% increase.
Right.
So that number means nothing.
Okay, sure. Fine. They've mentioned
Okay.
it since March 13,000 times.
Okay. There's a real number.
Um,
Okay.
I just thought it was funny. There was a 100% increase. So anyway, critical race theory came out like 2005, 2007, like as a theory. But I think, well, I don't think, it's pretty well proven fact that the conservative media outlet has to create a boogeyman. They have to create fear. And I looked
Why
some
do you
stuff
think
up.
that's... Hold on, time out. Why do you think you only put that on conservative media?
You're right.
All media. All media has to create the boogeyman.
Valid. But conservatives just make shit up. Okay? And here's why. Here's War on Christmas. War on Christmas. Every Christmas we gotta listen to some fucking War on Christmas bullshit. Trans bathrooms. Gay panic. Satanic panic. It's basically this think tank apparently called the Manhattan Institute that comes up with this drivel, and they just pump it out. Boom. Most of that shit is made up. There's no war on Christmas. 97% of the fucking country celebrates Christmas. 97%. Most atheists celebrate. I mean, probably even some Jews celebrate. Muslims celebrate it. 97% of the country celebrates Christmas. Because it's awesome. It's an awesome holiday. Why would you not celebrate it? It's dope as hell. Do you know that more people... This is another thing, speaking of holidays. I'm off track. But Father's Day is like number 20 on the most celebrated holidays in the United States. Fucking Arbor Day ranks ahead of Father's Day. They're hoeing. Anyway.
You know why that is?
Huh.
I think it's probably has something to do with the percentage of families that are without fathers.
Probably.
That's a pretty direct correlation, I would say.
Sad. Also, but more so than that, what I think is,
Are we?
it's not really a Hallmark holiday. Like, dads don't need the shit. We're gonna barbecue. We're gonna do the things. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need you to go buy us a bunch of shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. Anyway, I feel like though, so the way that they do this is they say they create the boogeyman, okay? They pump it out, pump it out, almost in a McCarthyistic style, where they just create this fear.
Trump is a racist. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that, he's gonna be executing these people. There's gonna be jackbooted thugs in the street executing people. You can't tell me that conservative media is wholly guilty of this. Because I don't buy that bullshit.
We're talking about conservative media because we're talking about critical race theory. And critical race theory, they basically think that we're going to make the white kids hate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular instance, that's who I'm talking about. Conservative media.
So when a black person comes up there and to the school board meeting and says, you know, I'm going to let you make your point. You just keep going. Just keep going. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'll wait. I'm gonna stop.
My problem is that number one, critical race theory is not an agenda. It's not an agenda. By definition, critical race theory is a descriptor. Just like critical theory. Are you aware of critical theory, Rob?
Vague definition is everything should be looked at through a critical atmosphere as taken as a negative, and you should examine it from that point of view. Is that correct?
Sort of.
Okay.
But it's more based on. So let me give you what I pulled up here. Came out in the early 1900s. It's an approach to social philosophy that focuses on reflective assessment and critique of society and culture in order to reveal and challenge power structures. With an origins in sociology, literary criticism, it argues that social problems are influenced and created by societal structures and cultural assumptions than by individual and psychological factors.
So it's a theory
Basically,
to take the onus off of the responsibility of the person and the individual and put it on society as a whole.
More so.
So all my problems are society's problems. Then.
Looking at the class structure and oppression on society as a whole.
Okay, so individuals have no agency, and it's all society's fault.
It's not what it's saying. Don't do that.
That's what I heard. That's what the definition was.
It says social problems are influenced and created more by societal structures and cultural assumptions than by individual and psychological factors.
Yeah, so I have no agency. Okay, yeah.
How are you getting that? You have no agency.
All of my problems are influenced by society and not.
You don't think
by society.
You don't think
that's the definition.
You don't think any of your problems stem from societal.
That's the definition
Societal
of critical
structures.
theory.
No, answer
We're not talking. We're talking about the
You
definition.
don't think that any of your issues, any issues that you face today, anything that you think about has anything to do with your class and societal structures as a whole?
I was talking about the definition that you gave.
Goddamn question. Do you think?
Oh, we're moving the goalposts now.
Personally,
we're moving the goalposts. Moving the goalposts.
No,
we're changing the question.
I'm not. It's a fucking way to look at shit.
Yeah.
You're making shit up.
No agency.
No.
Fuck that.
That's so stupid. That's so fucking stupid. Answer my question.
That my problems
has no impact on you whatsoever.
That my problems.
Society has no impact on you whatsoever.
That's not what I said.
Question. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm saying that critical theory, as the definition is,
you can take it. You can take it 100% one way, and I can't take it 100% the other way.
The definition that you gave removes agency from the individual.
That's so stupid. It's so stupid. So no social problems. You have no social problems whatsoever.
No, not really. What would they be? What? What social problems do I have that I can't handle on my own, that are completely out of my control?
Well, since you're white, you can go to a bank and get a loan to start a business whenever you wanted. You can live wherever you want because you have no redlining. You can, I don't know. I guess you don't have any. Being a white man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think. My point is that critical theory is based on class, and there are obstructions to. Frozen again.
I got you.
Okay. There are obstructions to class. Like, it just is. Whether you want to admit it or not.
Class or race.
Okay. Critical theory. I'm not talking about critical race theory. I'm talking about critical theory. Okay? Based on class.
Okay.
Yes. Based on class. It's not taking away any agency. It's just a theory of this is what happens. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, I didn't really look into it a whole lot because to nail down specifics because I didn't think you were going to take this weird slippery slope fucking angle. So my bad. Anyway, it describes what is, not what should be. Okay? That's there are socioeconomic classes, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree that there are classes and subclasses in our society. There are those that exist, yes?
Yes. There will be hierarchical structures or class structures.
And so we can definitely both agree that one of those classes has more power than the other classes, yes?
Sure.
Okay. We can break it down further, but for the sake of the argument, we'll just to go with the owner class and the working class. Okay?
Sure. I'm with you.
Basically, that's critical theory. And I know that you are super conservative and you really believe that you love individuality. You pretend that class has no bearing on success. I know that's what y'all like to pretend. And I don't know how to help you to see otherwise. Anyway, critical race theory is a descriptor of what is the power structure between the races that exist now. It's not an agenda. It's not meant to make white people hate themselves. It's a descriptor of what is. Now, I know that you brought up Kendi last time, And so I went, and of course I read some more because I wasn't very familiar. And that guy's an idiot. Okay, I know that everybody loves, but man, I started looking into it. So it's like basically what he says.
It warms my heart to hear you say that. So I just want you to know that.
I went and pirated a copy of the book because I needed to see the context, right? Kenny believes that there's no such thing as race neutral. Like there's nothing is race neutral. It's either racist or anti-racist.
And everything is racist. Then. Yeah.
Right, and everything is racist. Everything.
Yeah. So he's like a Anita Sarkeesian with not Anita, is Anita? With a PhD or whatever he's got. I don't know. Does he have a PhD? He's just some dude that wrote a book. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Please continue. So he's an idiot.
Yeah. Remember a few years ago when Mel Gibson did the Braveheart movie, and then
only
turned
a
around
few years ago,
and then did shut up.
Yeah, just a couple.
But then turned right around and did the Patriot movie.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Man, English fucking sucked." Like they were some assholes, right? Like every one of us thought that, right? English, fuck those guys.
Man, I'm glad we beat the crap out of them.
And then kind of that was it, right? I guess I just don't understand why Americans can't be like, wow, Americans fucking sucked, and then just move on and try to be better. Like why? And I guess looking at the DeSantis stuff and some of the 1776 stuff, and then some of the the deification of our fucking forefathers, and why is it frozen again? Okay, there we go. Why is it that we can't, like, we don't want to admit that bad shit fucking happened here? That's what I don't understand. Like, I don't understand what the hang up is there. Why can't we admit that? Why are we afraid of that? Why are we afraid of saying, yeah, America did some fucking horrible shit, and white Americans did some fucking horrible shit? Why are we so afraid of that? Like, what do you think is going to happen when we say, yeah, slavery's pretty bad. All those experiments we did on black women was pretty bad. All those experiments we did on black men was pretty bad. Why are we afraid of that conversation?
I think that's an excellent question.
Because that's what I think a lot of this pushback is, and it feels like if what the problem with that some of these conservatives have with these conversations is it's a fear that some of the oppression is going to go back on them, like what you were talking about last 2 weeks ago in South Africa or in what was the other place? Rwanda? Zimbabwe.
Yep.
Like that's the fear, is that all of the sudden you are going to be the oppressed ones. And so and that's a huge fear, that if you admit any shittiness, I don't know what word I'm looking for, then all of a sudden you're going to be the one oppressed. And you know what that looks like. And you know what it looks like from this end, and you definitely don't want that to happen to you.
So I think that's, do you not think that is a fair assessment? Like, that's not the right word. Do you think it is wrong?
So what?
No. Let me finish the question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it wrong to not want that to happen?
If you fear that it's going to happen, there's a part of me that thinks you believe it's deserved.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think that historically, you can look at it and see it happen time over time in many different cultures where an oppressed class has gained power and executed everyone. And I think that's a very valid fear, historically, based upon human nature and how we treat each other.
So then you absolutely agree that there's an oppressed class.
I think that if you go down this route...
And you absolutely agree that it's something that needs to be
I'm
discussed.
simply asking the question, if this is the stance, is it not a valid concern? Based on your own words. I'm just asking you the question. I don't have a stance on this. I think it is a valid concern.
Because I think there's a part of me that thinks it is deserved.
That everything that white people have done in the past should be visited upon white people today. That's what you think? So that your children should be...
I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
So why is it that only white people... No, let me finish. Why is it that only white people in America are made to feel this guilt?
They're not.
Of the history. No, they are. They absolutely 100% are.
No.
You're telling me the Saudis feel guilty?
They're not the only ones.
Over the historically enslavement of the entire European continent? They feel guilty about that? I'm talking about other cultures. Why is it that Western culture are the only people who are being told to feel guilty about their past?
I don't know that they're being told to feel guilty about their past. They're being told to feel guilty about their present. About what is.
That's bullshit.
What is.
Then why is it all based on past things? You just said it yourself that all the sins of our ancestors should be visited upon us today. That's literally what you just said.
That. I really don't think that. What I'm saying is, listen.
Then why did you make that claim?
I'm not saying that I'm going to welcome. Jesus Christ.
Froze a little bit.
Oh wait. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm going to welcome power over white people from, people of color. Okay, I'm not excited about that. No, and I don't think that's what should happen. What I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But I don't want anyone to have power over anyone.
Okay,
that's always been my stance.
Okay, then we agree on that. But you take issue with people pushing against
oppression? Pushing against oppression in general?
I think your initial instance and your initial statement of CRT is not an agenda. CRT itself is not an agenda. The people pushing it absolutely have one. It is not grassroots.
Racism?
It is not grassroots. It is not grassroots.
End oppression?
It is not a grassroots effort. It is a concerted effort that is funded by people outside this country.
But where are you getting that from?
The money. The funding from the research and all this other stuff?
Where are you getting that information?
I'm making shit up, man. I don't have a source on that. It's just the most plausible information. Because otherwise, where else, just thinking about it logically, where else the fuck is this coming from?
So I'll tell you where it's coming from. So it's coming from sociologists, academics. This is a graduate level theory, okay, that has trickled out into the mainstream by fucking asshats like, what's that bitch's name? Robin DiAngelo. Like it really
Who
is just
a fucking racist. I don't know why anyone listens to her.
But my point is that CRT, I didn't even learn about CRT until I was taking college level classes, or master's level classes, like to get a master's degree in education. And again, it's so funny, like all of these people, they're fucking fear mongering. Nobody's teaching fucking kids critical race theory.
False.
No.
False. 100% false.
What are they? So they're teaching critical race theory to kids.
Yup. Give me 1 second. We can watch the school board meeting together. Let's see here. Oh, let's see here. I think you said I had to share the tab, right, for you to see it?
Yes, and
All
to
right.
hear anything.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
I was developed in the 70s. I'm sorry.
Ooh, what did I just hit?
The 1970s.
I want to change. All right, I'm gonna have to.
I thought I was waiting on something. I apologize.
Okay.
When you talk about critical race
Okay, yeah, I
theory,
can hear
it's
it.
pretty much
All
going to
right.
be teaching kids how to hate each other. How
Let me
to
know if you need me to
dislike
pause
each
it.
other. That's pretty much what it's going to. That's pretty much. I don't care what you say. It's pretty much what it's going to all come down to. You going to deliberately teach kids this white kid right here got it better than you because he white. You going to purposely tell a white kid, oh, the black people are all down and suppressed. How do I have 2 medical degrees if I'm sitting here oppressed? How did I get? First of all, let's stand up. We've only got 5 minutes now. Not 5 minutes. 2 medical degrees. No mom, no dad in the house. Worked my way through college. Sat there and hustled my butt off to get through college. You gonna tell me somebody that looked like all y'all white folks kept me from doing that? Are you serious? Not one white person ever came to me and said, well, son, you're never going to be able to get nowhere because you know the black people. But guess what? What's sickening about this whole thing is what y'all doing right now is already something I do in my community right now to speak out against stuff because black folks are getting told by other black folks, oh, you know you ain't going to be able to do nothing out there in the world because them white folks ain't going to let you get no, oh, you know you're not going to be able to do it here because you know, the white man going to keep you down. Well, how did I get where I am right now if some white man kept me down? How am I now directing over folks that look just like you guys in this room right now? How? What kept me down? What oppressed me? I worked for myself from off the streets to where I am right now. You gonna sit here and tell me this lie of critical race theory? Of this the reason why black folks can't get ahead because of white folks? Are you kidding me? This is what we come to now. I can't believe we even talking about this right now. The last thing I'm gonna say right here is something that's crazy. Martin Luther King said he wanted his kids to grow up in a world where they are judged by the contents of their what?
Okay, I'm good.
Their character, not their skin.
Oh,
If
he's
they
got
got
another
this
minute.
Stuff going right now, it is absolutely doing the complete reverse of what he's doing. So
It's
when
the
February
same
comes,
fucking
don't
shit
talk
that,
about Martin
that's
Luther King.
regurgitated
When
from
February
Fox
comes,
News.
don't
I
talk
don't
about
need to
black
hear
people.
it.
Some of y'all
I'm
gonna
good.
sit there
I
and
heard
say
it.
he must be-
So again, that's this guy's assumption that critical race theory is being taught in schools. I need to know what is being taught, where it's being taught. I need evidence, not fucking fear mongering.
All right. So,
So
search
it's
button
like
would work.
I'm just reading this. It says the term seems to appear out of nowhere in state houses and at political rallies. Over the past few months, it has morphed from an obscure academic discussion point on the left into a political rallying cry on the right. Yet, most people that condemn and seek to ban critical race theory don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know how to make it more clear. It is not an agenda. It is a descriptor. Now, that gentleman there can go on and do his little survivor bias bullshit, and I don't really care about that because whatever. Great anecdote. Fantastic. But it doesn't take away from the power structures in our society. Like I said, I have a survivor bias story as well.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get out of the sticks. I grew up in the country, and so I avoided everything that was agricultural altogether. And I kind of regret it because I wish I'd taken some of those welding and carpentry classes. Anyway, but I avoided all that. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Christ.
I hear you.
Hello?
I just don't. Your
Hello?
cameras.
Okay.
Oh.
So I avoided all of that shit because I didn't want anything to do with anything that had to do with the country at all. Animal husbandry, fucking anything. I didn't even go to the agricultural building or the ag building at all. 4-H, all of that shit. I'm out 100% because I didn't want anything to do with you. I didn't listen to country music because I didn't want to be part of those people, right? And so I did it. I got out. I went to college and I moved to the city. See, I can do that shit too.
Mm-hmm.
And all those other people, they're still living in the same hometown that they grew up in. I got out.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? Like,
see, but I don't even see that as survivor bias because a lot of those people wanted to do that. That was their choice. A lot of them didn't. Maybe they were pushed into it by their parents, but I mean, shit. A lot of the people that I went to high school with, I grew up in a more country town than you did, and they loved that shit.
I know, right? I didn't, but my point is I didn't, and I didn't want to be a part of it, and so I was never a part of it.
And nobody made you. Nobody made you, right? Nobody was like, "Oh man, you got to take ag or whatever." Blah, blah, blah.
My friends do.
But again, that's personal agency. I don't know. Like,
they're like, "Why aren't you taking ag?" I'm like, "Cause I'm in theater. Leave me alone."
We'll learn about Shakespeare.
I think, though, seriously, like, there's little to no evidence that critical race theory itself is being taught to K-12 public schools, though some ideas central to it, such as lingering consequences of slavery, have been.
Let me ask this question. If it hasn't been introduced in schools, if it hasn't been put in schools at all, then why are people on the left getting upset when parents go to the school boards and yell at the school boards for teaching it?
I don't know that people on the left are getting upset about that. Maybe they're getting upset that you're, again, trying to, because of the way. Let me back up. So,
if it's not a big deal, and it's not happening.
Listen.
If it's not a big deal and it's not happening, then what's the argument? Is it just to say, like, oh, the right's going after this boogeyman? If the boogeyman doesn't exist, why are you upset about him chasing a ghost?
Because what they're saying is critical race theory that they're teaching in schools is fucking history. And they're saying, we don't want you to teach that history. We don't want you to teach about...
That's not true.
Slavery.
Yes,
it is. Absolutely 100% is.
False.
Bruh, look at a fucking textbook from California. Look at a fucking textbook from fucking Texas. And I promise you there's an absolute 100% white bias in the textbook from here. And I can pull it up and I can fucking prove it to you.
Do it then. Pull up the California textbook and pull up the Texas one. Because the thing is that you're not going to have a textbook that talks about history that just doesn't mention slavery. They might gloss over it. Sure, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Sure, they don't mention it, but they have a white bias.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't think that's real, let me read some excerpts for you here.
All right, while you're looking that up, I'm going to do this.
God, I will fight. And I'm not...
I forget where she starts talking about it.
They purposely themselves
For some reason.
expose themselves on social media, talking about calling for the death of a former president, or saying that any child that doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter should be canceled out. Is this what my tax dollars is paying for? You're teaching my children and other children that if they believe in God Almighty, they're part of a cult. These educators put their own names out there. We have Mr. Barry, who took it upon himself with Miss Cyrus to create a curriculum.
That should be it.
Can you hear that?
Do you want the proof? I have the proof. You created a curriculum of Black Panther indoctrination.
Ma'am,
You use taxpayers' dollars.
can I ask you one more time? I have no issue hearing what you have to say, but
Why can we not let the public speak? Why can't we let the public know that you're teaching our children to go out and murder our police officers?
That
Do
is
you
not-
want the proof? I have the proof. Is that what scares you, the proof? That a parent actually standing up against all of you? Is that what scares you, to call out the names of these people? You work for me. I don't work for you.
She gets on that. Yeah, I mean, she's got all their shit printed out and everything, so it's just a lot
right.
to listen to.
You ready?
Sure.
Okay, Chapter 10, Secession and the Civil War. Kate Stone was 20 years old and a member of a wealthy planter family when the Civil War began. After Kate's father died, her mother Amanda oversaw the family business's affairs. In 1860, the Stones moved to a cotton plantation near the Mississippi River in East Carroll Parish, worth more than 1,000 acres and 150 slaves. The family's future seemed secure. However, in 1861, after Louisiana's secession from the United States in January and beginning of the Civil War in April, the lives of everyone on the Stone plantation changed. Secession is the withdrawal of Kate kept a diary and wrote about many of the changes in their lives. Eventually, all 5 of Kate's brothers served in the war on the Confederate side. In 1861, Kate wrote that the oldest was wild to be off to Virginia because he feared the fighting would be over before he can get there. However, as the war dragged on, worry about her brothers became a constant theme in her diary. Sadly, by the end of 1863, 2 of her brothers had died while serving in the Confederate Army, one from pneumonia, the other from an accident. In her diary, Kate expressed her firm Confederate patriotism, insisting our cause is just and must prevail. But even for a patriot, the war's hardship became difficult to take. Union forces arrived on the family's plantation in 1862. With them came a justified fear that the slaves would abandon the plantation for freedom they believed the Union Army would provide. In an attempt to limit her losses, Amanda Stone sent 120 slaves to Texas in 1863. She and Kate were forced to follow the slaves to Texas later that year. In the family's absence, the few remaining slaves took over the plantation and moved into the family's home, dividing the rooms and Stone's remaining personal property among themselves. The Stone women would remain refugees, people who are forced to leave their home or country, until the end of the war in 1865. They were able to reclaim their plantation, but due to emancipation, the freeing of the slaves, lost all their property in slaves. The family had to face a new reality of planting and harvesting their fields with freed people who, Kate regretted, now demanded high wages. Kate felt ambivalent about the end of slavery, but after the war, she's ambivalent. But after the war, she did her best to adjust to a world she felt had been turned upside down. She married, raised children, and devoted herself to memorializing the service of Confederate soldiers like her brothers. Yeah.
What is this, like Daughters of the Confederacy? What is this?
From a textbook. That's from a fucking literal textbook.
Ugh.
It's a tough time for young white women who owned 120 slaves.
Yes, the plantation owner's daughter.
My point is that's a real textbook that is being used currently. It's a current fucking textbook.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. This is a Louisiana textbook.
So is it like schools have actually like bought this textbook? Does it have a list of like where it's been distributed, how many copies sold? I'm just curious.
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
I don't have that information. Here's one about a cool French white guy who lifted his sense of rhythm from slaves playing in Congo Square. Yeah. It's published in 2015.
Oh, okay. For a second there, I'm like, years? What? 2015? Are we past that?
No, that's when it came out. Yeah, that's when that book was published. So there's a bit of a white bias. My point is that there is a white bias in the textbooks from the South.
Do you think that is because, and this objectively speaking, that is because that was who could read and write at those times was the
in
wealthy?
2015?
No, in the 1860s. Those are your primary sources that historians are looking for.
Go read
Is that a
People's
potential?
History of the United States by Howard Zinn that has literal historical documents, first accounts documents from, I think not from, I don't know if they had some from slaves, but from people, regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And look through there, man. Like, look, you didn't have to read that book for college?
Which one?
Howard Zinn.
No.
I had to read it. I took a sociology class.
No.
I had to read it.
I did not take a sociology class.
It's a good read, man. It's pretty eye opening, and again, it is first-hand accounts, historical documentation in this book. It's worth a read, man. Real money. Howard Zinn. Z-I-N-N.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel what you're saying, because sure, they had more ability to read and write, but that book, the People's History of the United States, also has written first account documentation.
What's funny is I looked up the Howard Zinn, and on the Google, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the fourth article down is 2019, Reclaiming History from Howard Zinn, Wall Street Journal. Howard Zinn's Influential Mutilations of American History. Debunking Howard Zinn Amazon book sale.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then after all of that, here's the Amazon People's History of the United States.
But it's like, but the funny thing to me is, like, debunking Howard Zinn would be kind of the same as where the lady said all of the, founding fathers wanted slaves and then had to change it from all to some. So it's like, oh, debunked. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if there were 2 or 50, it would, out of the whatever 70 it was that signed it, that'd be some. Either way. I feel like there's a pretty big difference between all and some. Now, you may not. And that's fair. But
I don't.
Pretty big difference.
So, I guess.
Especially when the guy that wrote most of it, Madison, was one of the foremost against, as the example against what everything the 1619 Project was about. But I guess that doesn't matter either. Madison, James Madison,
Is against everything in 1619.
like, he is the prime example that says everything that she's writing about is a lie.
And what?
We're not going to rehash that. Go back to the other episodes, back when I did my actual research for the...
Like, what do you mean? Oh, you're frozen again. I didn't hear anything you said, if you said anything.
I was basically saying you can go back and watch the article where I was actually, like, researched on time for that particular episode, because I had a lot to say about Madison then.
Oh, so you're pulling the old, I'm not doing your research for you.
No, I just straight up don't remember everything that he had said specifically enough to give the example.
Here's the thing. Okay, regardless of all of this, right? So, the attack, I think, is you're being angry with with like social etiquette. They want to attack the concept of civility.
Who is?
People that are against the CRT or the history of slavery being taught accurately.
Okay, those are two different.
Now
things.
Sure, the same
Okay.
people,
Sure,
same people.
but they're two different things.
Yes,
Okay.
same people. What am I trying to say here? So, okay. This is what I wrote down. What we teach in our history classes lacks depth. You know, and we've talked about before, you know, how the things that we were taught. Like, I didn't learn about the Tulsa Massacre until I was fucking 39 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I didn't even know that shit was real when I was watching the Watchmen, the TV show on HBO. I didn't know that was a real thing. I thought it was made up, and I fucking Googled it, and I was like, "Holy shit, this actually happened." How did I not know that? Like that's a big defining moment. That's a huge moment in our history that I didn't know about. And maybe they taught it to us, or maybe they mentioned it in passing. You know what I mean? Maybe they're like, "Oh, and
Oh, this happened, by the way.
this
All right, moving
happened."
on.
You know what I mean? And so, but then, you know, when you look at something like that specifically, you just say this happened, and then you ignore the consequences of that particular event. You ignore, so you know, the sequential things that happen. And so that was what, 1921 when that happened, right? And so I think, like I said, I think the history that is taught in public schools it lacks depth. It doesn't want to go into the consequences of the things that happened in our past. And so I think that, you know, racism didn't end in 1969 when they passed the Civil Fucking Rights Act. Okay? So it still exists. I can get on YouTube right now and show you that racism still fucking exists from some of these motherfucking racists. So, in one aspect, I understand what Kendi is saying when he says the biggest problem that people have when they say, "I'm not racist," but they still uphold racist policies or racist societal things, because they do still exist. I mean, you can say they don't, but they do. Then you are complicit. And I think, and I think that's where he is right. So, do I like the framing? Do I think that, you know, it's either or? Do I think that? Can you still hear me? My thing is frozen.
I hear you.
Hopefully, you can.
Yep.
I think there are race neutral things in our world. I think there are. I think sports is race neutral. I think either you can play or you can't. Period. Like, I think that's why I love my job, is because there's a part of it that's just pure. Either you can play or you can't. And if you can play, you're gonna play. Period. And so that's what I love about it. That's what I love about my job is that it's absolutely pure. Now, not 50 years ago, but now it is.
Yeah.
and I also wrote some things down, um, that every bit of progress in the world or in America has been met with this same type of backlash. And the abolitionists, what they meant by racial justice was actually just pro black racial favoritism and leads to racial inequality against white men. Um, Now that black people aren't slaves anymore, they're going to take over the country and rape the white women. Um, uh, I'm just saying, like this shit that they said shit like that, like that's a thing. That's real.
Oh, I know.
But you know what? Though, white people are protected from the same policies, the same civil liberties that black people are. You're not going to be fired for being straight. You're not going to be fired for being cisgender. You're not going to be fired for being white. You're not going to be fired for being male. You're not going to be fired for being American. The majority is protected as well. Oh, I got into another thing. Let me go back up.
Hi, honey.
You say that to Reese?
Yeah, I was saying that to Reese.
I don't know. I just think there's a big push to take down the woke.
Mm-hmm.
And again, anybody that uses the woke as a noun is retarded. That's what I think. And I'm sorry for saying the R word, the R slur. But
You should be.
I know. It's the worst. I'm the worst.
Demonetized.
Sorry for using the R word.
Ableist language over here.
Speaking of ableist, I teach driver's ed, right? You know that I do that? I teach driver's ed.
Yeah, I'm wondering where you're going with this.
So so I give an assignment every year or every term where the kids have to go change a tire. They have to take pictures, take a video, whatever, of them changing a tire and then upload it to the classroom document, right?
You get to make fun of him for all this?
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always a fun time. But I got a kid in there that's missing his left leg, and so I was like, when I signed it, I was like, hey man, I was like, we'll come up with something for you to do, He's like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. Motherfucker went in there and did that shit. Like he got pictures and everything. Like he's kind of scooting himself up. Man, I'm telling you, it's awesome. Put the jack under there, lifted it up, pulled off scooted around, pulled off the tire. He did that shit, man. That's awesome. I was really proud of him. I was like, holy shit. Man, he did it on a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how hard it is? You have a truck.
I have a truck. I can hear you.
You know how hard it is to lower that tire down and get it out from underneath the car?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bitch. He did that shit.
I would have had to hop out of the chair and crawl under there and.
Right, I'm telling you. Well, that's what I'm saying. He did that shit. I'm so proud of him.
I've seen a lot of videos. There was this guy who, I play a lot of games and so I watch a lot of that stuff. But there was this guy who, he had no arms and no legs, and so he basically just lived in this sling, and he was he had arms that couldn't hands but no arms or something, I don't know, but anyway, he competed in professional fighting game tournaments, and he would mash his face on the controller, like, and use his tongue and nose to, like, do the combos for the fight. It was the most impressive thing I'd ever seen. Because he was amazing. He would have kicked my ass.
It's pretty dope.
In any game that I was, like, proficient in, like some of the old Soul Calibur games that I used to play all the time. No, this kid would have dominated me. Just mashing his face on the keyboard. There was another guy who played Counter-Strike with his feet. Okay, and I know you might be familiar with Counter-Strike. It was one of the most popular games. It's still really big.
I never played it, but I remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
This guy played with his feet because he was born without any arms, right? And he was amazing. Professional teams, right? Like, this guy was good enough to play on the professional level. With just his feet. And, you know, it got me thinking, like, man... like, for me, that's a hugely daunting task, right? To think about trying to do something like that with my feet.
Yeah.
For him, it's like Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Just another day.
Just another day, right? And so it's a lot of those things that's... I always think about things like that.
Figure it out.
It's like, yeah.
You figure it out. Like,
Figure it out.
You just have to. You figure it out. Hey, what are your thoughts on reparations?
You know, like I said, I laughed about that thing you sent me. Go ahead and say it real quick, because I want to lead off of that with my response to where you said your hot take that you sent me on text. It said something along the lines of, like, I want reparations to happen, but the catch is like nobody can ever talk about it again, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Right? And I told you
just,
false.
You just shut the fuck about it forever.
Yeah. Read my response to that real quick.
Hold on, let me find it.
I don't know. We'll see.
We talked about stocks a lot this week.
I'll use my search function if I can spell it correctly. If it works. Okay, here it is. Here it is, the hot take. Republicans could get on board with reparations if part of the deal was that they would never have to hear about slavery again from anyone. Just cut a check, and everyone can shut the fuck up. All right? I said false. Because then the left would never shut the fuck up about how the Republicans fucked it up and misallocated funds to various groups of different peoples. Though it would be nice.
That's true. I do think, though, that's true, though. Can't say shit about racism or slavery ever again.
Right,
we'll do this.
Do this,
That's
and that's it, right? But it always comes back to, and it's one of those questions. I mean, shit, Biden might do it with as much money as he's printing right now. Oh, hey.
I'm doing the show. What are you doing? You want some pineapple? Yeah. Okay, give me a second. Let me finish up. I'll be down in a little bit, okay? Okay, shut the door.
Oh, hey.
Like I was wearing Christmas pajamas.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Anyway. Okay, so.
I don't know if you can see this, but that's proof I was up at the top of the rock wall.
Look at you. Yeah. Nice. It's pretty impressive, actually. I don't think I could do that. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, two things. One, I am for reparations. I don't need a caveat, or a qualifier.
How do you determine who's eligible? Let's just say I'm on board with this, right? How do you determine who's eligible and what they should get?
So, I don't know, honestly. I do know that they gave reparations to slave owners. So, for their lost property. I don't know what it looks like, honestly. Let me think about that. Okay. you'd have to do. You can determine who is a descendant of slavery, couldn't you?
How?
Mm,
Because the records weren't all that good. You know, that's why the genealogy is so messed up going back that far, especially in the African American community and the black community. You know, so genealogy is a mess, man. You know, that's one thing that like wife and I have talked about. Is like, you know, how Granddaddy basically traced us all the way back to Wales and whatever else, but like my wife's family, it doesn't go back past the
so that
1900s, really.
yeah, so that's part of the issue that a lot of people have with, you know, with the erasure of culture, with the erasure of their background or what have you. So let's see.
So I guess I'll say, without getting into the specifics of it, if it could be as you say, and everyone would just shut up about it, and we could move on. Okay, you know, we've spent money on dumber things in this country, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a discussion there that can happen. But it's always going to come back to how do you do it, and how do you do it fairly.
Do you remember in the did you watch The Watchmen?
The TV show?
Yeah, the show on HBO. Oh, you should. It's so good. It's really good. Yeah, you should take the time to watch that. Find time. It is way better than. Did you ever watch the movie?
Hmm?
The movie?
Yeah, I saw the movie.
It's garbage. The Watchmen, the TV show, is amazing. But what they did, because they did reparations for the descendants of the Tulsa massacre people, because racism. Anyway, they basically they did a DNA trace, so that you go to this center in Tulsa, and you, God, can you see me?
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. They go to the center there in Tulsa, and they put their finger on the thing. They draw blood, and then they see if you're a descendant of anyone that lived there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they had the people that lived there at the time's DNA to match it up. But you could basically they could take it back to whoever was living there, like they trace it back to the person. I don't know. I know that's not really feasible to do it like that.
Theoretically possible.
There's got to be a way, right?
No, I mean well, okay. So Tulsa Massacre wasn't that long ago. It was 1921. I looked it up.
Right.
I think there should be viable DNA in like the bone tissue in normal interment. If it's like the 1860s, there may not be any viable tissue left.
But
even then, like, how would you do that if you go dig up a grave?
Yeah.
What's the person's story? You know.
I'm with that. Like that's a tough deal. I don't know the answer.
Like it's good for TV, but
that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the realistic. Yeah, I don't know.
And that's always going to be the problem, right?
Yeah, you'd have to figure it out. There'd have to be some type of way to do it, but I don't know what those answers are. So, Anyway. Oh, I wanted to go on a little to change the subject. So we did reparations. I had an issue earlier this week with the gatekeeping on the left. Because so the right will take fucking anyone. They don't give a shit. They're like, oh, you're pro-life? You're with us. Oh, you like money? You're with us. Oh, you like fiscal responsibility? Us. Like, it doesn't matter what their other stances are, right? It could be the most left-leaning person every other way, but if you have one right-wing stance, they're like, yeah, you're on our side. Come on over here. GOP. The left, if you've ever said or done anything bad, these motherfuckers are like, no, you're problematic. You need to do some, 10 Hail Marys to our Father and Savior, Bernie Sanders, and
To our Father Bernie Sanders. Old and wise be he.
Like, I'm telling you, like
and you wonder why people call it the Church of Woke. That shit right there.
You.
It's the dogmatic.
But honestly, I think that really, politics in America is becoming religion.
Oh yeah.
Because less and less people are going to church, right?
Well,
and
it meets
in church are
all the criteria of
yeah,
a normal religion. It's got original sin. It's got pure evil. It's got like
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, and so
the
people are
redemption
like
process,
they're
the
figuring
prophets.
out morally where their compass goes. They deify the founding fathers or not.
Or the blue check marks.
So, right. And so I just think that people are becoming dogmatic in their politics, and so it's becoming a religious. There's like a religious aspect to it. If you take out like the mystical things and all of that stuff from religion, and then look at American politics right now, motherfuckers are picking a side.
Did you see the call and response over last year? They were like it was literally looked like a Catholic mass where they were doing like call and response, but it was like, so and so is a racist. So and so is a racist. Like everybody out in the crowd was like just repeating everything to do with the bullhorn said. White people are evil. Cops are bad.
I can't hear you.
It was a call and response, like you would see in a Catholic church. And it was hilarious.
No. Yeah.
I was giving examples of my bullhorn sound. Trying to create the echo. It doesn't matter. No, it is. It absolutely has become dogmatic, and it has become preachy, and it has become like people are getting excommunicated, right? Like, you say that for the left or whatever, right? But that does happen on the right too. It's just not to the extent that it happens on the left, right? Like, I know you're familiar with like Tomi Lahren, whatever her last name is.
Tammy.
I'll Tammy.
That's what
gotta say.
That's what people say on the.
I'll Tammy.
That's what people say on the left when they're trying to insult her. They just call her Tammy.
Anyway, so her, she had a thing came out where she was like pro-abortion, and she didn't have the hard stance that a lot of people wanted her to have, and so like she lost a lot of people on that because it was kind of her thing where like this is my personal belief, and so it does happen. It's just never to the extent, and it's never. It doesn't. It pales in comparison to what the left does to themselves. I'll say that.
The other thing is, and I was listening to somebody, I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about there will never be a revolution like there was with Lenin or with Mao when they, went around the countryside talking to the workers and the laborers, and getting them riled up, and then it being like a grassroots movement type thing for the left. We, I think, we need a figurehead, um, and it's been Bernie. I'll tell you, like the figurehead for the left, and the like I said, our father Bernard Sanders. Um, uh, it's been it's been Bernie, but he's gonna die. I mean, he's almost 80, right? He's probably eventually going to get out of politics, I assume, and retire. Um, or maybe not. I don't know. He may die in office. I don't know. But after him, there's nobody. The thing about Bernie is Bernie was in politics for 40 years, and he held a hard stance for 40 years. He never took corporate money. He's always been this person. This is the way he is. You can't shake him. And there's really nobody else like that on the left. And I don't think it's going to have to be somebody new. I don't think it can be anybody that's currently in politics.
I was trying to find an old example of the left having done this for years. It's always been that way, as far as like the general excoriation of not following the dogma, right? And I was trying to find the example of a guy who wrote an article to the Daily Worker here in the United States, who basically talked about how, and again, the Daily Worker, he was a screenwriter, I think this guy was. I'll find the name for you later, but he wrote a paper in the Daily Worker. It was very long, about how the views, their propaganda cannot lead the art. And so, because it cheapens the art, makes it bad, and all this thing, and then your shows and your art sucks. And that was basically his whole point, is like, you can have your message or whatever that you want to put in there, but the art leads. Your story has to lead. You have to have an interesting story. And that was really his whole paper was to the communist bloc and the screenwriters, right? Are you there? Where'd you lose me at?
That's basically the whole story.
Okay. So, writer pins an article for the Daily Worker that says your propaganda has to follow the art. And you can't have your propaganda create and cheapen your stories. The art has to be the focus, and if you want to have your message, you have to be subtle about it, and you can't beat people over the head about it because they don't respond well to it.
Yeah.
And he was crucified in their leftist media, made to apologize and do the apology tour all around California and Chicago and everywhere else, and had to write another article retracting everything, and which is very interesting, right? I mean, it's the same thing that they had with the that the communist Chinese did with the what were they called? Struggle sessions. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Where somebody would say an unpopular opinion, and they would like gather up. Of course, that was like included beatings during the struggle sessions, but they would basically have the group attack the individual to bring them back in line. And so, this thing that you're talking about is a long tradition throughout history. So there's nothing new about that. The left has always done that. And they will continue to always do that as long as they have dogmatic views.
Yeah.
If you go against the doctrine, which is always changing, you will be punished.
But like some of these people don't even want you to talk to conservatives. Like if you talk to a conservative, you are a fascist appeaser.
Yeah, because you're enabling them. You're either enabling them or you're opening up the lesser educated, of course, that follow your things to the conservative viewpoint, and we can't even have that. Like, how insecure are you in your positions where you can't even have the conversation?
Yeah, it's you're platforming them.
Yeah,
That's
we can't have
the
that.
thing. Can't platform fascists. So
I laugh at Vash's titles for his videos because everybody's a fascist who disagrees with him,
or Nazi.
or not. Yeah, or that. Like, come on, dude.
Everyone's a Nazi.
Everybody. Oh my God. Shut up. Give me a break, dude.
He has good arguments to back it up.
Sometimes.
I mean, for the people that he calls Nazis, because he gets accused of calling everyone a Nazi often, and so he's generally like he actually said this the other day. He's like, yeah, I've probably been a little loose with it, but so now when I say I think they're a Nazi, he's like, I want to really back it up with evidence of their Nazi
fascism. Yeah. You were going somewhere with all of this, and we got sidetracked. We're almost out of time. Do you want to?
So it's just like it really is just like you know, it feels like a lot of self-defined leftists don't actually care about progress. Not necessarily against the right, but let's just say for the sake of argument, progress against the right. They only care about their fucking purity test and
virtue signaling.
And virtue signaling, and not sullying their pride, or not sullying their themselves with class traitors. And that's how you fucking lose, man. Union fucking workers went to Trump across the board.
And then they went back, and now they're losing their jobs. Some unions. Sorry, not all.
Well, they were losing their jobs before. But union workers they're ours. Like, socialists are the ones that started unions. Like, you wouldn't have unions if it weren't for socialists. Like, they should be on our fucking side.
Did we ever talk about the Richard Wolff Destiny debate any?
We talked about it, but like just some of the critiques that we had.
Yeah. I think it goes back to his 3 definitions on what is socialism, and if socialism can be anything, then it really is nothing. Like, it's just a word, And I think that was my biggest thing. And so it just made me think of it talking about like unions, and the socialists created the unions and all this stuff. Like, well, yeah, but which brand were they? Were they 1, 2, or 3? Which socialists were the ones that did it, right?
Yeah.
I think that's another problem you have on the left, personally, because you don't have a cohesive argument to make, and so it's easier. Take us back to CRT. It's easier to say, hey, this one thing, we at least can all agree on this. And we'll push this in to the school.
But I think
we educate our children in this, and we can get all the children in and all the public educations to buy into this one thing, we can get what we want 10, 20 years from now.
To buy into let's not be racist? Like, I don't...
No.
Sure. Okay.
That's not what they're teaching. That's not what CRT is. No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. What is it then?
It's the Ibram X. Kendi version.
What?
It's the Ibram X. Kendi version of CRT.
No, it
that's
isn't.
what people don't want. And they're justified in not wanting that.
That's not what's being taught in schools. There's no evidence, just like I said earlier.
The
There's
video I'm
zero
not going to
evidence.
make you sit through. She's got evidence of the writings about like cops killing people and doing all this other stuff and whatever else. You
So
can't
cops
tell me
don't kill
that you need to teach a kid that police officers are out there to kill you. You can't tell me that's a good.
About anything. You can't talk about anything that's happening in society.
You can.
Okay.
You can talk about things.
No. Apparently you can't. Apparently that's CRT. Apparently the thing that's fucking happening all over the country. Apparently the thing that caused a fucking year of riots. You can't talk about it. Don't talk about it. You can't talk about it. That's dumb.
Is
That's
it being
dumb to
talked
me.
about in a productive manner?
If you have a conversation, then yes. If kids are allowed to have a conversation about it, yes.
You can swear that that's what's happening then.
Who
Why
knows?
was it such a
would
big
you-
deal? Why
would
was
you
it
wanna
such a big deal?
stymie
Let me
any of it
finish.
in the first
Why was
fucking
it such a big deal this last year with parents listening to the Zoom calls and the teaching of their kids? Why was that such a big deal this year? Was it because they were having those conversations, or because it was going in a direction that it wasn't really beneficial? At least to the parents' point of view.
I don't know. Because I wasn't a part of any of those. I didn't look at those. I have no idea what you're talking about. Honestly.
I feel like parents, you know what? We should videotape every classroom in the school, and the parents should have access to that. I feel like I have a right to know what my kid's being taught.
I feel like you're never going to find another teacher, because if you want to videotape my classroom, go fuck yourself.
Okay, bye.
That's how I feel.
Bye. Bye.
Yeah. So you're going to be a teacher now? We're going to have homeschool for everyone? Cool. Good.
Figure
Good
it
luck
out.
on that.
I'll figure
Good
it
luck on
out.
that. You won't, though. You won't.
I will.
You already have a teacher shortage. You already have a teacher shortage. And then this shit in fucking, because I promise you, this shit that Ron DeSantis is doing, you're not going to have fucking teachers.
So I'm going to get what I want with public schools going away if I do this.
That's what you want? You don't want everybody to have an education? Good. That'll be a great society. Great.
I'm just being facetious. That's not my personal point. There are people who want that to happen.
I know. They don't want anybody to be educated. A dumb society is a pliable society.
It is. It certainly is. Are you there? I feel like I lost you.
Here I am. You did.
Yeah.
Yeah, an uneducated society is a more pliable society.
So,
Great.
real talk. That's not my real position. I'm just trying to fire you up. Did it work?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit.
No, I think I'm a product of public education. I think we do need schools.
I'm just saying, you already have a teacher shortage. And so, like this shit, like with Ron DeSantis in Florida telling me, you want me to give you my political views? Go fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at. I would fucking quit. You're not gonna fucking pin me down.
Mm-hmm.
Go fuck yourself. I'm out.
Would they? I don't know how that survey is going to work. I read what you were talking about.
They say it's anonymous, but I don't believe that at all.
Yeah. Well, and it's a matter of like who gets the data, where the data goes. Is the data secure? Because probably not. Nothing's really secure these days.
Right.
There's a lot of questions there that I don't think are going to be handled well. The idea that you need to have a political survey in order to have a job, yeah.
No, not me. Like, I can just imagine the conversation when you go to teacher in service, your first day back. And they're like, all right, everybody, we, listen, according to the governor, we got to do this. I don't care what you put down, just put it down. Like, just, I don't care what it is. Just put something. Like, you don't have to be honest. Just, we have to be compliant. And even then, I used to be like, fuck you.
No! I refuse!
I'm telling you, like, and then, so seriously, because I wouldn't do it. And then I make them fire me. Wish a motherfucker would. Suing everyone. Taking that shit all the way to the Supreme Court. Shit is illegal. It's unconstitutional. I'm out. 10 years later.
10 years later, after umpteen zillion trials, deferments, interval extensions.
Yeah. 10 years later, overturned. Let me get my job back. I'll be 50.
And broke. No, I think you would get some financial support for doing that. Honestly, like I know, I
probably would. But yeah, because I'm telling you, I wouldn't do it. There's no way. There's no way that I would fill out this survey.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. No, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand why Republicans would get on board with that. That, like, y'all supposed to be the party of freedom and free speech and freeness.
Freeness?
I don't know.
You're making shit up now.
You know what I'm saying, though. Like, y'all are supposed to be those guys. Y'all, that's like your fucking thing. Is say what you feel. Feel how you feel.
Well,
you know
my thing about it is like, if you want to have conservatives in education, make it more appealing for conservatives to be in education.
You're never going to. I say that. Bro, the majority of everybody that I work with is conservative. If I'm being honest.
You work in a small town in Texas.
No, I work in a large town in Texas.
Fair enough.
There.
But it's also
a very large town. There are 50,000 students in my school district.
You know, would that, if they were to do that survey in your school, would they say, hey, we need to hire more people that think like this one coach over here who didn't fill out the survey?
They should.
If you're pushing for, you know, equality of.
Hello.
I'm here. I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can't.
Hello.
I got you now. All
right. I was just gonna say, if they're pushing for equality of what was the term they used? I forget. Diversity of opinion or diversity of viewpoint or whatever it was. Yeah. It could be a two-edged sword for them. You know, it could cut both ways and not necessarily have the outcome that they were thinking it would.
Right.
Assuming people are honest, right? So, and if they're not, then you could have a whole bunch of teachers be like, "Oh yeah, let's say we're all super conservative, so they can hire more people that actually think like us, and we'll lie to the government like this, and it'll be fine. It'll be hilarious. Let's do it." You know, and so it could have a profound opposite effect on that end too. Like how do you guarantee that people are actually telling the truth on surveys anyway? Right, because I mean, during the polling, there was polling about the polling where they were asking Republicans questions about like, do you answer the phone calls honestly? And the answer was like, no, hell no, I don't tell people. Like, I don't tell people who I'm voting for. You guys are crazy. Like, so I know that already happens, right? So,
yeah.
We're at 10 o'clock. We're a little after 10. You got anything on closing?
I don't. I'm sure I could talk for hours on this subject. So, you know, good talk today.
Good talk. Well, I'm sure we'll circle back to this. Circle back, Saki, at some point on this. And,
I'm sure.
All right, man. You have a good one.
All right, bud. You too.
Bro's out.
BroPartisan's out. Thank you for watching this episode of BroPartisan Hacks with Reese and Rob. We really, really appreciate you watching, tuning in. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to us. We're putting out content as often as we can. Share it with your friends. Get it out there. Get our names out there. Also, hit that bell, tap that bell right there so that you can get updated when we put out a new video. Rob and I are trying to pump these videos out as often as we can. However, we both have day jobs, we have families, so our schedules have to line up so that we can make a new video. Speaking of our day jobs, our opinions and views expressed are our own and in no way represent those of our respective employers. Thank you. Thanks again for watching.